set this up. It is a lovely day here in Southern California. Great way to end the weekend. Let me just move this around. Now, for those who are curious, I did drop a new video on this channel if you guys want to scope it out. And also on my other channel, I did upload where I reacted to some of Will Smith's newer music from his new album, and why it's been getting criticism, or why it's getting bashed, criticized, so, and if it's warranted, right? And on this one about in my personal opinion, probably what is the worst era and area in California's history when it comes to violence. What's cracking like a dashboard? What's good, my boy? What you up to? Loken and Token? Oh, Mr. Pasa is definitely up in the casa for the raza. What's good, carnal? Esa la buena vida. A toda madre o un desmadre? Oh, you already know the homie Derek up in here making that Skrilla. Ella. Aquí pisteando. Oh, eso es todo, carnal. Pura calidad. Pura calidad. That's right. Swifty Blue went to No Jumper trying to explain his situation. You could tell by his body language he was not telling the truth. His situation? What does No Jumper have to do with his situation? He's talking to the wrong people. I always find it mind-blowing that individuals come on the internet to try to explain their street scenario, their street situation, right? Like, why are you coming on the internet? And what the fuck do any of these people have anything to do with this? Why do people come on the internet seeking validation? I don't understand. You can't get it from the internet. It's fucking insane. I don't know. Strange times we live in. Strange times. What are your thoughts on the situation? As of lately, he transferred his Texas home to his mother's name to avoid civil lawsuit. Wait, civil lawsuit from who? From the girl's parents? Oh, now they care? Just keeping it real. Mr. Also, what do you think about the situation? Do you think he can beat the case given the evidence? No, not even so much because of the evidence, but a part of the evidence is his reputation, the way he carries himself. It's not painting the most, graceful of individuals. You get what I'm saying? And as for the David situation, I think he's guilty as fuck. I think it's only a matter of time, but till then, I guess he's preparing, right, for the moment, right? He got a lawyer already, and apparently he's making moves, like you said. You really haven't heard much, because there's not much to go on. Not only that, but people don't feel as strong for the situation, and just because of the behavior of the girl, which is stupid in itself, right? But that's how people get down, though. Like, oh, she was a troubled individual. She was looking for it. You get what I'm saying? That's why individuals pick, victims like this, because they already know that not that many people are going to care. It's one of the things that serial killers themselves do, right? They already know if you victimize these kind of people that have, troubled backgrounds or shit like that, that the people, not that many people will give a fuck. What's cracking like a little rich? What's good, my boy? We chilling, carnal. Órale, eso es todo, carnal. Puros corridos. Puro Jorge Gamboa. Los Tucanes. Los Durangos. It's crazy how he let the internet pressure him into planning for Vaughn and now the same internet. Planning him for see, individuals when they do this kind of stuff, that already shows the individual's character, right? The individuals that come on here and try to prove themselves to the internet, the reason they do that is because that they know that they can still be questioned. They don't have confidence in their credibility and in themselves. That's the reason why they allow the internet to dictate their moves, right? Because they know that they can be questioned and that what probably people are saying is true, right? That's why they go and try to, prove otherwise. Because if you already know who you are and what you have done, right, then can what nobody says, face you. Like, well, I'm not gonna come here to try to convince you. Like, if you truly want to know, then you can go ask the hood and the homies, and you'll get your answer. If you really want to know, if somebody's really about it, you know what I mean? Your reputation will speak for itself. You don't gotta come and brag about it. Let the work speak for itself. But the ones that come and allow this because they know that the work can't speak for themselves, right? They know that they can question like, hey, well, he never did nothing. He never put in no work. He never, you know what I'm saying? That's the only reason why it's done. He threw his life away. Yeah. Wanting to belong is one hell of a thing. You know what I mean? Wanting to belong, that many people feel that strongly about it. That they're willing to risk it all just to get maybe a chance of being a part of something. It's crazy. Walmart is cheaper than Target. Fuck yeah, it's not even close. Target is expensive as fuck. Yeah, Target they ain't playing over there. Like, excuse me, how much? As additional as a case of death, they can't file homicide. Yeah, they gotta find out, what exactly happened, because the puzzles will start. They'll come along. It's coming. It's gonna come along. People will see. It just takes time. On a day to day, you get different homicide cases, right? And families that are worried and want to know answers, and they be going, and they don't get no news coverage, right? So people are not aware of this, right? But this is actually normal. It actually takes time to solve a case, right? So it's not like, oh, what's taking so long, or why ain't they saying nothing? Like, bro, you're not saying that about the other fucking murders that be happening on a day to day, right? So why bitch about this one? Like, it's gonna get handled just like the other ones get handled, bro. And that just takes time. Motherfuckers swear that these fools can just, fucking solve shit like that. I mean, sometimes it does work out like that, right? But sometimes it takes work. Everybody swears that they're fucking, nah, they should just go and arrest that fool and just try to, like, charge him with what? Well, what evidence? How you gonna prove it that he's guilty, you stupid fuck? You're gonna take him to court like that. What evidence are you gonna provide to the jury? Your fucking opinion? Your speculation? Come on now. Not how the real world works. They're from San Bernardino as well. What's cracking, lacking? The Drunken Chef is definitely up in the building. Go subscribe to Drunken Chef channel. ¿Qué onda, carnal? Al tiro? Said that the people that are trying to justify her death because she ran away didn't listen to her parents. They were trying. Well, I don't know about listening to her parents. Did her parents even care? Doesn't seem like it. To be honest with you. Yeah, I think it is them. I mean, it really didn't seem like, much was being done to try to get her back, Doesn't seem like her parents were, trying all that hard. And, I mean, kids normally don't run away from home when they're being showered with love. And I'm just keeping that shit 100. Kids don't avoid home and don't run away if they're coming from a loving home, bro. That just does not happen. It just doesn't. Now, it may come across like that, right? Because, obviously, once the door closes, you don't know what be going down right there, right? But once the door's open, right, they can paint it and make it look however they want. It happens all the damn time. People think that it's a loving family. Everything's peaches and cream. Then some shit happens, and then people are like, I never suspected them. I would have never thought that they would have done something like this. Why? Have you ever been to San Diego? Yeah, I've been to San Diego. Been to San Diego a lot of times. The LA is crazy. There is confinement because he's violent too. He made 3-way calls on Charles. He's just acting up, though. Doesn't take that much to, get isolated, right? It just shows his, his poor judgment. Because obviously it's not gonna help him in this case, like I said, right? But hey, gotta keep up the facade. That's what happens when they paint themselves in an image, right? That they have to keep the act going, right? Because once it starts to slip, right, then it'll just fall apart. And that's his whole gig, right? That's his whole thing, right? So obviously he's not gonna, let that go. What do you think about alcohol use disorder? Like people that are alcoholics? The struggle's real. Big U and his homies. They're about the same. Are they? Oh shit. That's crazy. I heard it's going pretty bad for Big U though. Oh, this weekend you worked the Rose Bowl? That's right, my boy. You get the cheddar. People trying to different actions. Yeah, I feel you. The narrative is starting to shift on the internet. They were trying to say the girl was a troublemaker. I mean, everyone was gonna have their opinion, but people don't really know the facts, though. Like, people assume all they want, but assumptions are not facts, right? Was she trouble? Yes. Like she ran away and everything like that. Does that justify him taking her? Like, no, right? Does that make it any less, horrific? No, right? And at the end of the day, she was still a child, nonetheless. It was the parents' job to keep their child safe. They just weren't willing to put the effort. You get what I'm saying? I have teenage kids. My kids are teenagers, right? Well, 2 of my younger ones. My 2 older ones are already old. Right? They're not They're not teenagers no more, right? But my 2 younger ones, And I can tell you that the fact that people can't come and say that they can't control their, or they can't, like, help their kids, or, like make it work, it's just ridiculous to me. It's ridiculous. Like, who's the parent? You or her, bro? Telling me you can't fucking control your kid? And I don't mean. See, the mistake that a lot of people try to make is that when they try to rebel, is that they try to apply stupid methods, meaning like assaulting them, hitting them, which is not the way to fix problems. It never works. It just creates a lot of resentment. And talking shit, like insulting them, like, you always make stupid choices. You're just a fuck up. You can never do shit right. Fucking idiot. How stupid can you be? Shit like that is not gonna fix the problem. It's not. It's probably gonna make the parent feel better because they're blowing off steam, but at what cause? At your kid's fucking expense? You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that a kid shouldn't hear come out of the mouth of their parents. You know what I mean? And when you dislike somebody, what do? Like, when you really hate somebody and you're in the same area or whatever, and something happens, don't people normally fight, right? You're only gonna fight people that you dislike. That's how it works. You hit people that you dislike, whenever some shit happens, right? People just don't hit people that they love, right? Growing up, these kids see it on their cartoons, on their fucking TV shows, The Loving Family, and you know what I mean? So they get the dynamics behind all of that, right? So then now you're over here insulting them and hitting them. What are they supposed to think, especially with a bunch of new hormones kicking in? They're going to really think you really don't like them or love them, and etc., right? Now, you can say that's stupid, they should know. But like I said, when they're teenagers, that's just not how they think, and that's just not how it works, right? Especially with all the new hormones that they have to juggle with that they're not used to. New thoughts in their heads. But instead of the adults, actually realizing the psychological side of things, right? They instead want to choose to satisfy their fucking egos, right? Nah. Just give them a good fucking putazo or a good fucking cachetada and they'll learn like that. Uh-huh, yeah. That's what they used to do to me, and look how I turned out. I turned out pretty fine. Like, are you sure, my boy? Hey, do I gotta bring up the past? Look at all the shit that you did throughout your whole entire life, and you turned out fine. You sure about that? Che vato, always pedo, haciendo drogas, pendejo. And like, what the fuck are you talking about? You did not turn out fine, bro. Sure, maybe in your later years you probably managed to, somewhat get it together, bro. But then, my boy, hey, for a while I was thinking that, you were gonna pull through. People are so stupid. I'm a high-powered sleeper? En serio. Ted Bundy had a wife and a family and had a good job. Well, not necessarily. Ted Bundy's relationships fell apart. But yes, at the time, the facade, he did, it did look like that. But yeah, his relationship was rocky and creepy as fuck. She's lucky though. She's lucky that she managed to survive. What's even more strange? The fact that he was arrested for. See, that's another thing people have to understand the dynamics when it comes to society. There's been serial killers like Ted Bundy, and they received fan mail, bro. They were found guilty. Everyone knows they're guilty. The serial killers themselves admit it, confess. Yet they still get fan mail. They still get women that want to marry them. Ted Bundy was married when he was found guilty already. He had served a while in jail. Some girl managed to marry him. Even though this motherfucker killed and raped all kinds of women. She didn't seem to. It didn't bother her. You want to know why it didn't bother her? And you want to know why they get fan mail? And you want to know why people still support them even though they've been found guilty of these horrendous crimes? Is that people truly don't give a fuck until it affects them. That's why people can vote for Trump even though he's a piece of shit, because what he's doing is not, affecting them personally right now. That's why they're able to support him, right? That's why people are able to be cool with individuals that have done shady shit because they never did the shady shit to them or to any of their loved ones, right? Like, these individuals are cool with an individual that rapes kids, but as long as he never raped none of his kids, then he doesn't seem to mind. But once, it would have been one of his child, then there was going to be issues. But until then, they can seem to just look the other way, which I find fucking disgusting and disturbing that people can be like that. It's crazy to me. But they want to give the facade that people are, kind-hearted and care about people and shit like that. Most people are just full of shit. What about Chiques or anywhere? Yeah, también. Did it because he had love for one in his neighborhood. That makes sense, but did it for the internet. I don't think he did it for the. Maybe some of it also had to just him not wanting to seem like he's not handling business and shit like that, right? And also wanted to do it because that was the homie, this is the set, and etc. Right? But I don't think it was necessarily so much to please the audience, right? But to maybe please his image or himself and how he views himself. But unfortunately, well, it depends how people see as solid or what they see as solid, right? Because an individual could be a writer right now, like, oh, he's a solid homie, he did that, whatever, and then like 8 years later, he ends up piecing up or rolls it up. Then all of a sudden, people are gonna be like, oh yeah, that fool was a lame. And he does seem like an individual that will crash out like that, right? People that just crave attention like that, right, normally don't make it that long in there, right? Because people don't like individuals that crave attention like him, like that. People don't like individuals that think that they're big and bad and talk about how big and bad they are all the time. People get tired of that real quick. Like, what's his name? What's the name of that fucking mass murder? That's Space Guy, the fucking fool that came out in Mindhunters, who killed all those nurses, and then he was being raped in there and liked it. He had Born to Raise Hell, and he thought he was the shit until he was locked up, and he realized that he was actually not down. And he wanted no part of the criminal activity and violence. They call me the Pelican Bay. Nalgona, respected in the yarda. Damn, my boy, en serio? That is crazy. They canceled Capone's show at Sun Valley. What the fuck? They did? When? That's crazy. Why? Wait, where in Sun Valley was he going to perform at? The Swami? The middle school? People trying to defend Michael Jackson by saying he was found not guilty. You know what? First of all, he had settled a few cases, right? He actually paid, a few of the cases. And like I said, if this is what you're being accused of, right, and the allegations, there is no way in hell I am agreeing to settle the matter, bro. You know what I mean? Because he did pay, he did settle and pay the families off, a few times, right? And so you had this scandal, right, where you were, sued and you settled, right, because these kids were saying that, you abused them or whatever, right? Okay. So these allegations are already, on your name. And then you still choose to allow underage kids into your home and to be in the same bed with you as you sleep is fucking is like, come on now, bro. You know what I mean? Like, that is just fucking, like I said, bro. Like, too many times of this of the pattern of the behavior, bro. I'm It just says a whole lot about the individual. Like, okay, you know what? Hey, a few times they already accused me, so I better not, even though I know I'm not doing nothing, his best at. But no, he couldn't help himself, bro. He couldn't help himself. That's the reason why he kept doing it, bro. He couldn't control it, bro. Because, like I said, if he would have been like, yeah, you know what? It might be seen weird because I already been going to court for this shit. But no, he still kept doing it, and that's why it still kept happening. Because he couldn't control himself. He just couldn't say that because how the fuck would he look, right? So he had to come up with all this fucking, runaround. But truth of the matter is, bro, there's no excuse for that kind of behavior, bro. If you have already been accused, no, like, come on now. Not only that, but the scenery of his room is strange in itself too, though. The cameras, like before, and the alarm that triggers in his room before opening his bedroom door. That is, and I get it. He said, "Oh, it's for I'm a celebrity. What if somebody breaks into my home and yada yada yada." So yeah, it's reasonable to think that, right? So we get it from that perspective, right? But at the same time, you have all these rooms in your home, but these children are gonna be in the bed with you, though. Like, out of all the fucking rooms, they're gonna be in the bed with you, though. And in the bed with the fucking alarm. Like, come on now, bro. Like, do you not see what's happening here? You know what I mean? Do you not like? His lack of insight is crazy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my lunch break is over. Gotta get back to it. It was good chopping it up with you guys, and we out.